It's Tuesday in Simpsonville, South Carolina, and we had a light dusting of snow last night. You saw that picture as entered into this video, and they're expecting on Wednesday night, that's tomorrow night, another 2 or 3 inches of snow, which will be a little bigger, a major event for the Simpsonville area. They don't usually get much snow, so some of us are looking forward to it, some of us are not. But in any case, it reminded me of a message I preached a number of years ago called The Thunderstorms of Life. In Florida, we didn't have a lot of snow, so the big events were the really violent thunderstorms. As a matter of fact, the Tampa Bay area was known as the lightning capital of the world. And sometimes the thunder would just shake the house and the lightning would flash all around. And it reminds me of a story, and many of you that know my preaching style know that it's always going to remind me of a story. A little boy was sleeping one night and a tremendous thunderstorm came in and shook the house. Little boy cried out and his mother came in and she climbed into bed with him and got him calmed down. And after a few minutes she said, "I need to go back to your father." And the little boy says, "The big sissy." Well, there are 4 truths about thunderstorms of life. Storms will come. Yes, everybody's going to have some thunderstorms of life. They will have a potential for harm. You see, lots of times in those thunderstorms in Florida, they could hit pine trees, bring them down. They could hit houses, wiring systems, and they could do harm. Third, they usually don't. Let me say that again. Storms will come. They do have the potential for harm, but they usually don't. And the 4th truth is they will end. It may seem like it's never going to end, but they always do. And if you were to sit back for just a moment in your chair and think about how many biblical characters could you name that never came through a thunderstorm of life? Let me ask you that again. If you just lean back in your chair and ask yourself, how many biblical characters can you name that never had a thunderstorm of life? You certainly couldn't name Adam, or Noah, or Abraham, or David. You couldn't name any of the disciples, or Paul, or even Jesus. Certainly not Abraham, or David, or Joseph, or Jacob. No, most biblical characters, because they faced real life and they're not just fictional stories, faced thunderstorms of life. And we will too. And as a matter of fact, Jesus promised us we would. I love that about the Bible because it's so real to life, and that is in Matthew 6:34. He says, "Therefore do not be anxious for tomorrow will take care of itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own." John 16:30, which many of you know is one of my favorite verses, "In the world you'll have trouble," or "in the world you'll have tribulation." Jesus didn't try to hide the fact that there would be thunderstorms of life. But the Bible and Jesus also told us the answer for the thunderstorms of life. In Psalm 46:1 it says, "God is our refuge and our strength, a very present help in the time of trouble." In Philippians chapter 4, verses 8 and 9, it says, "Finally, brethren, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is of good repute, if there is any excellence, and if there is anything worthy of praise, let your mind dwell on these things." That's the answer for the storms of life. God is our refuge, and we're to set our minds on those things that are worthy of setting our minds on, and dwell on those things. Not just glance on those things, but dwell on those things. It goes on in verse 9, and it says, "The things you have learned and received and heard and seen in me, practice these things, and the God of peace shall be with you." The God of peace in the midst of the storm of life. That's your truth for the day. Philippians 4, 8 and 9, Psalm 46:1, God is our refuge, our strength, and a very present help in the time of trouble. And don't forget, it's like Mama climbing into bed with Junior and then going back to Dad. Big sissy. Don't be a big sissy. God's with us, and he's going to continue to be right there with us, even in the storms of life. He'll see us through. They will end. God bless you and have a great day. That's your thought for the day.